Chosen ones, listen closely because this message is urgent. Have you ever had a plan fall apart right when you thought it was finally coming together? The job slipped through your fingers, the relationship ended suddenly, the opportunity vanished without warning, and you asked yourself, God, why would you let this happen? Here's the truth. God didn't cancel your plan to punish you. He canceled it to protect you. He saw what you couldn't see. He heard conversations you didn't hear, and he removed it, not because you weren't worthy, but because you're chosen for something greater. And here's the revelation. One bold move will change everything. The moment you step in faith instead of fear, the doors will open, the blessings will align, and the breakthrough you've been waiting for will finally make sense. But first, you need to hear this full word. Because the plan that was cancelled, it's the very thing that will unlock your destiny. If you feel this message already pulling at your spirit, don't scroll, stay with me. And before we dive in, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you never miss these divine confirmations. Because chosen ones, you're not here by accident. God brought you here for a reason. Part 1, why God cancelled your plan. Chosen ones, let's go deeper. When God cancels your plan, it often feels like punishment. You start to question everything. What did I do wrong? Why me? Why now? You replay the moments in your mind, wondering if you missed a sign, ignored a warning, or prayed incorrectly. But here's the truth you need to hold on to with all your strength. God doesn't cancel to punish. He cancels to protect and redirect. Think about the moments in your life where you were sure something was the one. The perfect job, the relationship you thought would last forever, the opportunity that looked like your big break. You prayed over it, you believed for it, you invested your time, your heart, your energy into it, and then just when you thought the door was about to swing wide open, it slammed shut. At that moment, all you saw was loss. All you felt was rejection. But chosen ones, what you didn't see was the pit that God was saving you from. God saw what you couldn't see. You were about to walk into a business deal that looked lucrative on the surface but would have drained your spirit, your peace, and your integrity. You were about to marry someone who checked every box on the outside but would have crushed your purpose on the inside. You were about to accept a job that seemed promising, but in reality it would have chained you to mediocrity, keeping you small when God designed you for greatness. God saw what you couldn't see. He heard conversations behind closed doors where your name was being spoken with manipulation, not love. He saw betrayal forming in the shadows long before you noticed the signs. He knew the traps being set for you, the deals designed to exploit you, the people who smiled to your face but secretly plotted your downfall. So he stepped in, he cancelled the plan, and yes, it hurt, yes, it felt unfair, yes, it made you feel abandoned, but sometimes the greatest blessing of your life is the prayer God never answered, the door he never opened, the plan he never allowed to succeed, the divine pattern in the Bible. Look at the patterns throughout Scripture. Joseph thought his life was over when he was thrown into the pit by his own brothers. He must have cried out to God, asking why. But what looked like betrayal was actually preservation. That cancelled plan led him to Egypt, where he would rise to second in command and save nations during famine. Moses thought his destiny was cancelled when he fled into the wilderness after killing an Egyptian. For 40 years, he lived as if his purpose had ended. But God was preparing him in that desert. The cancelled plan of being a prince in Egypt redirected him to become the deliverer of Israel. Ruth thought her story ended when she buried her husband. By human standards, her life was over. No husband, no security, no future. But God had a bigger plan. That painful ending was only the setup for her divine beginning, where she would meet Boaz and become part of the lineage of King David and ultimately of Jesus himself. Every cancellation in the Bible was really a redirection toward destiny, and if God did it for them, He will do it for you. Divine protection in delay. So if God cancelled your plan, it's not because He doesn't love you, it's because He loves you too much to let you settle for less than His best. It means He's preparing a table for you in the presence of your enemies. It means the delay is divine protection. It means He's stripping away what you thought you needed so He can give you what you truly deserve. Maybe you thought that person who left was the love of your life, but God saw how they would have drained your joy. Maybe you thought that job was your big break, but God knew it would trap you in a cycle of frustration. Maybe you thought that business deal would elevate you, but God knew it would bankrupt your soul. Chosen ones, don't confuse rejection with redirection. What feels like rejection is often the greatest protection you'll ever receive. Don't curse the closed doors. It's tempting to cry over the people who walked away, to stay bitter over the opportunities that slipped through your fingers, to fight against endings, trying to force life into things God has already buried. But hear me clearly. Don't curse the closed doors. They were never meant for you. If someone walked away, it's because they didn't belong in the next chapter of your story. If the job didn't call you back, it's because God already had a position reserved that no one else can fill. If the opportunity crumbled, it's because God is aligning something greater, something you couldn't see from where you were standing. When God cancels your plan, it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not abandonment, it's editing. God is the author of your life, and He is rewriting the chapters to align with your divine destiny. Imagine reading a book where the main character never faces a cancelled plan, never faces a closed door, never faces disappointment. It wouldn't be a story worth reading. There would be no growth, no transformation, no triumph. God knows your story needs twists and turns, valleys and mountains, endings and new beginnings. He knows that the cancelled plan is not the end of your story. It's the very thing that makes your story powerful, inspiring, and victorious. So when you face that moment where the plan collapses, I want you to hear God whispering, "Trust me, I'm not cancelling your life. I'm editing your story. What feels like loss is really alignment. What feels like the end is just the setup for a greater beginning." Chosen ones, the cancelled plan is not your downfall, it's your preparation. The closed door is not your rejection, it's your redirection. The unanswered prayer is not God ignoring you, it's God protecting you. So lift your head, wipe your tears, and trust the process. Because if God cancelled it, you didn't need it. And if He redirected you, it's because something greater is already waiting for you. Part 2, the test of trust. Now, here's the real test, chosen ones. When your plans collapse, when the foundation you built your life on suddenly crumbles beneath your feet, can you still trust God? This is the question that separates the ordinary from the chosen. Because it's easy to trust God when everything is working in your favor, when the doors are opening, when the blessings are flowing, but the true measure of faith is not seen in seasons of abundance. It's revealed in seasons of loss. The temptation to turn bitter. This is the exact place where so many people give up. They turn bitter, they turn angry, they begin to harden their hearts. They start whispering to themselves, maybe God forgot me, maybe He doesn't love me, maybe all those promises I believed in were just lies. But chosen ones, the true children of destiny, know better. They know this moment is not abandonment, it is alignment. They understand that God doesn't test them to destroy them. He tests them to develop them. And so instead of asking, why did this happen to me? They ask the deeper question, what is this teaching me? Why God allows the test, you see. God cancels your plan, not only to redirect your path, but also to strengthen your faith muscle, because faith that is never tested cannot be trusted. If your faith only works when the blessings flow, it isn't faith, it's convenience. But when everything falls apart, when the people you loved walk away, when the job you depended on disappears, when the future you imagined collapses, that is when the authenticity of your trust is revealed. Before God releases the blessing, He strengthens the vessel. Before He gives you the crown, He tests your character. Before He allows you to sit at the table of kings, He wants to see if you can endure the wilderness of lack. This is why the test is so necessary, because if God gave you the blessing without first building your trust, the weight of the blessing would crush you. Lessons from the storm. Look at the disciples. They were on the boat when a storm broke out, and their lives seemed to hang in the balance. Waves crashed, winds howled, water filled the boat, panic consumed them. And where was Jesus? Sleeping. Now He could have calmed the sea immediately. With one word, the storm would have bowed in silence. But He let the storm rage. Why? Because He wanted to see if they trusted His presence more than they feared their circumstances. And chosen ones, that's exactly what God is doing in your life right now. The storm is not meant to drown you, it's meant to reveal your strength. It's meant to strip away the illusion that your security comes from circumstances and show you that true security comes from His presence. Trust in the wilderness. Think about Israel in the wilderness. They cried out for deliverance from Egypt, and God answered. But when He led them into the desert, they began to complain. They forgot the Red Sea he parted. They forgot the manna he provided. They forgot the water he brought from a rock. Why? Because their trust had limits. God wanted to teach them that trust doesn't end when comfort ends. Trust doesn't expire when resources look scarce. Trust is not seasonal, it is steadfast. And the same is true for you. This season of cancelled plans is your wilderness classroom. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. You're being stretched, refined, and transformed into someone who can carry the weight of divine destiny. Faith in the face of fear. Trust is not about ignoring fear. Trust is about standing firm even while fear screams at you. It's about looking at the storm and saying, I will not sink because he is with me. It's about standing in the fire like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and declaring, even if God doesn't deliver us the way we expect, we still won't bow. That is trust. That is faith. That is the kind of courage God is building in you through this season, the shift trust creates. And here's the beautiful truth. Once you pass the test of trust, everything changes. Suddenly, cancelled plans don't scare you anymore. Delays don't discourage you. Loss doesn't paralyze you, because you realize that if God brought you through once, he'll do it again. This trust creates unshakable faith, a boldness that terrifies the enemy, a strength that cannot be broken by disappointment. Because when you've walked through the fire and survived, you know you're unstoppable with God on your side. Chosen ones, this season of cancelled plans is not the end. It is a training ground. It is the classroom where trust is taught, where faith is forged, where character is refined. So don't mistake this test for punishment. Don't confuse this wilderness for abandonment. God is closer than you realize, watching to see if you will fold under pressure or rise in power. Remember this, when God delays, it's for development. When he cancels, it's for character. When he tests, it's for trust. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. And when you come out of this, you won't just believe in God's power, you'll walk in it. Part 3, the bold move that changes everything. And now we come to the revelation, chosen ones. One bold move will change everything. When God cancels your plan, he doesn't cancel your life. He doesn't want you sitting in despair, replaying the loss, or clinging to what no longer serves your future. No, he's calling you to pivot, to act, to step into the unknown with faith. Because while cancelled plans close doors, bold moves open gates. What bold moves look like? The bold move could be simple, or it could be life-altering. Leaving that toxic job and finally stepping into your true calling. Ending the relationship God already revealed was dead weight. Launching the business, ministry, or creative project that's been burning in your spirit for years. Speaking your truth when silence is the safer option. Moving to a new city or stepping into a new environment where your blessings are waiting. You already feel it stirring inside you. The bold move has been tugging at your spirit. But fear has been whispering, not yet, not safe, not possible. Why bold moves feel uncomfortable. Here's the reality. The bold move will never feel comfortable. It will terrify you. It will make you second-guess yourself. It will keep you up at night wondering if you've lost your mind. But that's how you know it's the right move, because destiny never lives in your comfort zone. Comfort zones keep you where you are. Bold moves pull you into who you're meant to be. Comfort keeps you safe. Boldness births transformation. Comfort whispers limitations. Boldness unlocks miracles. Every chosen one in history, biblical or modern, had to step into boldness before stepping into greatness. Bold moves in the Bible. Think about Abraham. God told him, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. Abraham wasn't given details. He wasn't given a map. He was only given a promise. That bold move birthed a nation. Think about Esther. She risked her life to go before the king, fully aware she could be executed for approaching him without invitation. But that bold move saved her people from annihilation. Think about David. He stepped out onto the battlefield with nothing but a slingshot and a stone. Everyone doubted him. Everyone mocked him. But that bold move toppled Goliath and shifted the destiny of Israel. Chosen ones, your Goliath is waiting. Your bold move is the stone that slays it, the timing myth. Too many people wait for perfect timing before they act. But bold moves are not made in perfect conditions. Bold moves are made in storms, in uncertainty, in the chaos of imperfection. If Abraham waited for certainty, he would have died in his father's land. If Esther waited for safety, her people would have perished. If David waited for better armor, Goliath would still be standing. Stop waiting for perfect timing. It will never come. The reality of boldness. And here's another truth. Bold moves are often misunderstood. Don't expect applause. Don't expect support from everyone. Bold moves make others uncomfortable because your courage exposes their fear. But listen carefully. Your obedience is not for their approval. Your bold move isn't about being understood. It's about being aligned. Don't wait for guarantees. Bold moves require faith, not proof. Faith is the evidence of what you cannot see yet. Faith is the currency of destiny. And when you act in faith, heaven backs you up. The prophetic promise. Here's the prophecy. Chosen ones. The moment you make this bold move, doors will open that no man can shut. Resources will flow, allies will appear, opportunities will align, and everything that once felt like loss will suddenly make sense. You will look back at the cancelled plans and realize they were simply stepping stones to this exact moment. This is not the season to hide. This is not the season to retreat. This is not the season to shrink back in fear. This is the season to rise. This is the season to step boldly. This is the season to trust that if God cancelled one plan, it's only because He has already prepared something greater. So take the step, make the move, write the book, launch the vision, walk away from what's toxic, step into what's divine. Your bold move may feel risky, but it is the safest thing you'll ever do. Because when you step where God is leading, His hand carries you, His power protects you, and His promise goes before you. Chosen ones, destiny is waiting. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfection. Make the move, because one bold step of obedience can shift your entire life forever. Part 4, the shift that follows obedience. Now here's the beauty, chosen ones. Once you make that bold move, the shift doesn't take years. It begins instantly. Something powerful happens in the spirit realm the very moment you obey. It's as if the heavens lean in and say, finally. Now we can move from loss to launch. Suddenly, the rejection doesn't sting anymore. The heartbreak doesn't break you anymore. The loss doesn't define you anymore, because now you realize it was never a loss at all. It was a launch. The cancelled job, it freed you to pursue your true calling. The relationship that ended, it cleared space for real love and destiny-aligned partnership. The door that slammed shut, it forced you to walk toward the one God had already unlocked. What once felt like punishment now feels like preparation. What once felt like rejection now feels like redirection. When you move, God multiplies. Here's the truth. When you obey, heaven responds. When you take one step, God multiplies your steps. When you move in faith, the universe begins to rearrange itself to meet you halfway. It's like a domino effect in the spirit realm. One act of obedience triggers a chain reaction of blessings. One step of faith activates resources, connections, and opportunities that have been waiting for you all along. That's why obedience feels risky. It requires movement before manifestation. But chosen ones, the reward for obedience is always acceleration, the season of shifting. This is the season where everything begins to shift. You will feel yourself moving from confusion to clarity, from wandering in circles to walking a straight path, from barely surviving to fully thriving. It's not just an external shift, it's internal too. Your mindset expands, your faith deepens, your confidence grows. You no longer chase validation because you know alignment. You no longer fear closed doors because you trust divine timing. You finally step into who you were always meant to be. From chapter 1 to the climax, chosen ones, don't be afraid of the cancelled plan. Celebrate it, because that cancelled plan was never the end. It was just the first chapter. The bold move you make, that's the turning point. That's the plot twist that changes the entire story. And the breakthrough that follows, that's the climax. The moment everything makes sense. The moment the pain pays off. The moment destiny reveals itself in full color. So lean into this truth. Obedience brings alignment, and alignment brings acceleration. Stop mourning what was cancelled, start celebrating what's coming, because once you obey, the shift is unstoppable. Your story is not ending, it's ascending, and the world is about to witness the transformation that happens when a chosen one steps boldly into obedience. Chosen ones, let me leave you with this truth. When God cancels your plan, it's not the end, it's the beginning. It's not rejection, it's redirection. And it's not punishment, it's preparation. Every closed door, every delay, every heartbreak, it was all part of the blueprint. God was clearing the path so you could finally walk into the destiny He designed just for you. Now the question is, will you trust Him enough to take the bold move? Will you step into the unknown with faith, even when it feels uncomfortable? Because that's where your breakthrough lives. That's where your story shifts. Remember this, the bold move may look risky, But it's the safest step you'll ever take because it's aligned with heaven. And once you obey, the shift is unstoppable. Doors will open, blessings will flow, and everything you lost will be replaced with something greater. So lift your head, chosen one, celebrate the cancelled plan. Step boldly into the next chapter. Your breakthrough isn't coming, it's already here, waiting for your obedience. This is your season. Don't fear the shift, become the shift.